Welcome back. This is the Love After Lockup Season 2, Episodes 10 through 14 review. I actually watched 5 episodes because I wanted to know what happened. So it's a lot of information to cover, so if I miss anything, I am sorry. But of course, as always, spoilers, just in case anyone has not had a chance to watch the series or the season. Don't watch if you don't want to be spoiled, obviously. I hope you guys are having a good morning, good week so far. So let's get this started. Um, so a lot happened, obviously, over the course of 5 episodes. So I guess let's go ahead and start with Clint and Tracy. Um, okay, so in the last few episodes that we saw, Clint and Tracy basically, well, she was gone. She took off with his rental car and his phone and just kind of ended up back in jail. Um, and he owed the rental car like $21,000. Um, and then she gets arrested twice, which I guess was gonna happen. But then they end it, and they had ended it for like a month, I think, is what he said. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, it until she gets the help that she needs. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her to leave again, but whatever, I guess. Well, she actually gets let out because it's overcrowded. Um, so no trial, no nothing. She just gets to go, and she says that she's dropped like 40 pounds, but she has to gain it back because Clint likes bigger women. And I was sitting there thinking, if I could just drop 40 pounds like that in like a month, I would just be killing it. But that I would never gain it back. I would try not to gain it back, anyways. But whatever. So Clint and Tracy, according to the end of episode 14, that they plan to do their vows, and apparently Clint got fired from the hotel. I don't know why. I wish I knew why, because I didn't think that he had done anything. But whatever, I guess. So now he's working at the meat market. So I hope that and I hope that they return the rental car. They didn't really say anything about that, and they didn't even mention the fact that she took off with it, and that was like $21,000. I mean, I really hope that they were able to return it, and he didn't have to pay for it, because that would suck. That would suck. But honestly, not really much happened with Clint and Tracy, and honestly, whatever happens to them is really of their own discretion, because I wouldn't have waited if you know if I had been with somebody who got out and chose crack over me. I've already been in the situation before. I ain't got years to waste hoping that she won't do it again, and not to mention, Clint acted like it was the end of the world. I don't know if all of you have seen the Love After Lockup, but he acted like his whole world just crumbled, and I don't even know if he went to work, because literally he was talking about going to work, and then while he was at work, he was just kind of there, all mopey and depressed, and his world stopped, and he thought about running away. And some people aren't worth that. I don't think anybody is necessarily worth it, but come on, like, that's what happens when you buy somebody drugs and you don't tell them no. Alright, so not much happened with them, and not much that I really care about, because honestly, I'm so done with his my goddess thing. Okay, so let's move on. Alright, so happy news. Brittany and Marcelino got engaged, and she was pregnant, and at the end of episode 14, they had a baby girl. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name because I'll probably butcher it, but I think it was spelled Zoila, Zoila, whatever. I'll butcher it. So, beautiful baby girl. They're obviously still married, and honestly, I am really glad that Amanda got over whatever was going on, because before they got married, they were at Marcelino's birthday party, and Amanda brought, I guess, her girlfriend or whatever, and uh, this girl starts talking crap about Marcelino, saying that he's judgmental, which he can be. He can be, but I also kind of realize that some people don't grow up in the same household, and the they're not taught the concept that, hey, you can be bisexual and not cheat, or you can be gay and it's fine, or you can like plants and it's fine, or whatever. So I'm just glad that Brittany didn't throw down like she was saying, and a bunch of other stuff. um but of course, after that, it was Brittany and Amanda, talking, um and Brittany wanting them both. And honestly, when they first started on Brittany, I was literally like, look, you need to choose between Amanda or Marcelino. You can't have them both. And most people don't want both. I don't share. So, and Marcelino obviously doesn't want to share either. So I just think it's kind of, I was at that point where I was like, if you don't choose, I'm going to choose for you. And, you want to be with Marcelino, then you need to be with Marcelino, and you need to stop with this Amanda, you know, attraction, trying to kiss on her and touch her and stuff. It's because it's not okay, and then I was very worried for Brittany and Marcelino, because Marcelino kind of he has like a slight accusation problem, I guess. And I was just kind of like, don't accuse me of stuff that is not being done. But then again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they were laying in the same bed or if they did anything. She said they didn't, so I believe her. But they had a really beautiful wedding, and everyone was there. It was just nice. And I'm glad that they actually worked out in the end, because I was a little worried that she was going to choose Amanda, just because Amanda wouldn't get over it. And I was like this done. I was like so done with just listening to this confusion, and oh, she should be with me, and oh, I won. And it's not a competition. So just pick one. And she did. She picked Marcelino, and they had a baby girl, and I hope that they're doing fine. So they didn't really have any issues to begin with, so hopefully it's all in the past now. Hi, I guess it's time to get to the to the kind of drama slash kind of little sad, you know couples, which are the last three. So I guess we'll do Matt and Caitlin. So um after Matt, after Matt's botched interview with the spray paint dude, and him saying that he was being, looked down upon, and that he was talking to him stupidly. And I mean, I couldn't even deal with Matt in the first place. But Caitlin's mom passed away. They just said that she went to bed with a headache, and then she just never got up. She didn't have cancer or anything, but it happened. So, and apparently, Caitlin's never really had anybody there for her. Everyone has kind of died in her life around her, and her mom was never really a mom. And so it was kind of, I guess it was probably like the nail in the coffin for Caitlin. She doesn't have anybody. She didn't have anybody outside Matt and his mom. And honestly, Kathy's not really, I wouldn't even consider Kathy to be very supportive or really a mom for say. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would not have bailed Matt out of jail, and we'll get to that. But it's kind of, excuse you sorry. So So, when Kaylin's mom dies, they go to get her ashes, and it's been hard between her and Matt. She's not very forthgiving and allowing people to be there for her. And I totally understand when you've never had that, it's hard to be emotionally vulnerable. Um, so she's there to get her mom's ashes in an urn, and she's just telling the lady, the funeral director, that you know she wants Matt to be there for her, but she needs someone to follow through what they say and to respect her. And of course, Matt blows up and tells her to pipe down, and that he's made so many changes, and Caitlin just absolutely loses it. She gets fed up. She just stands outside. And she was telling the producers that, all of this stuff that Matt said he was going to do, he didn't. They don't have an apartment. Literally, they went apartment hunting, and he decided to pick a fight because everything was moving so fast. Like, he wanted to live with his mom, and she didn't. And so he picked a fight with her, and then they didn't get the apartment. But then she got a job. She got I think she said like a law firm assistant or something like that. So she actually was making money now, so she could get her own place. And but because of Matt being Matt, I guess, and thinking that everything is happening so fast, like, people aren't gonna support you. You need to support yourself. So, whatever. So of course, Matt leaves her standing there in the street, at the corner of the street, outside the little funeral place, and he ends up back in jail. He stole a car, and they're saying that he could look up to like 10 years, 10 years in prison, 12 years in prison, because he already has, obviously, a rap sheet. So especially since he'd been in and out of jail for 9 years, this was probably like the judge, doesn't have to be nice. So they set his bail at like $7,500, and so Caitlin has to come up with $750, and she's like, "Oh, that's chump change or whatever." But then she bails him out, and then literally, he doesn't even really say anything to her the 3 days that he's in jail. And when they were video chatting before, the posted bail hearing, he's talking like, "Oh, she's gonna bail him out. She's gonna bail him out. Just say you're gonna bail him out. And if I ain't got it, I ain't got it." And honestly, I don't really blame Kathy for not bailing him out, because if my kids were like that, if my kids, see, probably the first time I would have, unless, they like tried to kill somebody, if they just ended up there because of robbery and we could bail them out, then I'd bail them out. But if they ended up back up in there again and again and again, you're staying in there. Like, and obviously Matt's not learning anything because he just keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. So obviously he must like jail, because he doesn't want to get a job. He doesn't like the fact that somebody is asking him to get a job to, start a life. And, it's, nobody's going to take care of you out here. It's not just one person's job. If you're capable of working, work. But of course, after she posted his bail of $750, they have another fight, and she leaves. She just says she's done. She packs up her stuff, and she says that she was tired of waiting around for the broken promises, the third chances, the fact that he wasn't ever going to do anything with his life. And that was it. Apparently they're still broken up, but I hope that she was able to find a place. I mean, he apparently is living with his new girlfriend, so I'm just thinking Caitlin was just a way out for him. But I hope that she's doing a lot better. Caitlin didn't have anybody, but I hope that she's doing okay. So, alright. I guess before we get to Michael and Megan and Sarah, let's do Scott and Lizzie. So Scott and Lizzie were already having a tumultuous relationship in season 1, and of course when she gets out in season 2, And well, Scott is just, he's being accused of being an enabler. Lizzie's daughter doesn't like him, and of course she's also telling Lizzie that she needs to get a job, which she does. But then Scott comes out of the woodwork with a car. I don't know how, I can't remember how much he spent on this car, but he gives her a new car. He couldn't even afford it, but he got her a new car. And then she went shopping, and he said, get whatever you like, spend what you need to. $2,000 on clothes that she didn't need. Okay, and this is where I hit my breaking point. So when Lizzie comes back from this grocery store shopping, with Scott's credit card, her daughter meets her, and she's like, "You don't even need these clothes. Why are you spending $2,000 on them?" And she says that Scott's giving her the money. What's the problem? And part of my language, but Jasmine, Lizzie's daughter, tells her that she's a selfish, greedy bitch. And honestly, I have to agree. Just because somebody gives you a credit card does not mean, hey, you go spend $2,000 and you think that's okay. It's not okay. If you don't need the clothes, and then she's acting like Goodwill clothes aren't good enough for her, and if she doesn't deserve to feel good about herself. There's actually really nice clothes at Goodwill. I've actually got a bunch of stuff, from Goodwill, and, obviously, finding pants that fit me is just ridiculous because of my butt. It is just too big. It's not to be TMI, but, shopping for pants is difficult. But I have to say, I have found cute shirts there. I have found stuff for my kids. I have found toys there. We got them like this playhouse for like $10 at Goodwill. I haven't heard a complaint yet. So, Lizzie's sitting there acting like just because someone gives you money that you can just go spend whatever you want. No, you go make money. You get yourself a job, and then you can go out and spend $2,000 on clothes that you think that you deserve, because you don't. So afterwards, Scott and Lizzie get into a fight, and he's saying that he's just tired, and then he looks at his credit card statement, and he sees that she spent the $2,000, and now he has no money. He has nothing. He has absolutely no way to pay his bills. And Lizzie basically says that if he has no money, that she does not need him, and that their relationship is over. She hands him back the ring. He flushes it down the toilet, and she gets mad when she tells him to go. When he goes, he literally packs his suitcase and he goes. He leaves the hotel, and she's shouting, "Where was he going? Where are you going? Why are you acting so crazy?" He's doing what he should have done. He's doing what he should have done the minute she even said anything about money in the first place. I am not playing. And the fact that he let her keep that car, no. That car would have been mine. I am not trying to be selfish, but if it was not in her name, that car would be mine. She didn't deserve anything. She literally used Scott, thinking that he was a sugar daddy. She didn't love him, and I firmly believe that she didn't love him. And I felt bad for Scott, because he was just giving her everything that he didn't have, because he felt like she deserved it. And I feel bad that he ran himself into debt doing it, because she didn't deserve it, but he loved her, and that's what was so sad. And she was talking about how he proposed to her like 3 days out of prison, and you guys have been together for 3 years. If that's all you were doing was using him for money, then you should have left the minute you were out of prison. Don't string people along with talks of a future life and letting your daughter think that she can have some say-so when you don't even have a relationship with her either, and whatever. So after Scott and Lizzie end things, and they've been broken up for like a few months now, she's got a job at some packaging place, She has her own apartment, and I'm guessing it said that her and her daughter's relationship is fine. And Scott moved on, and he met Jasmine, uh, and they've been slow and steady. He doesn't care about the sex, and she doesn't care about money. He's been paying off his debts, and he doesn't care. He's happy. He feels good about himself, and I'm proud. And Lizzie's all up, and of course they said that Lizzie is upset that he moved on so quickly, but honestly, screw her. I would not have. The minute that she even brought up money and that he didn't have it and that he'd been lying to her, that would have been it. I would have left. I would have flushed the ring down the toilet too. Like, I cannot. And I'm sorry that she wasted his life and that he waited for her thinking that she was going to be something great when she wasn't. So, I hope that Scott and Jasmine, I hope that they have a good relationship together. Alright, so to the big showdown of the season, which I can frankly say ended in a very I cannot believe kind of way. So, obviously, Michael's married to Sarah, and he ends up meeting Megan in New York because that's where she is heading, and she's got a hotel out there, and he ends up getting arrested because he's 10 minutes late to his parole. So he was going to spend 4 months in jail. Alright, so Sarah gets his phone and the tablet and sees all the messages between him and Megan, how she was staying at a hotel, what room she was going to be at, that they went to Niagara Falls together, and that she was so happy, and that she was in wedding dress shopping, and that he proposed. And so Sarah says she needs to talk to to Megan. But before we get there, let me say this. Before we even got to all of that, Michael came back from his trip with Megan from Niagara Falls after 3 days. He walks into the Sarah's apartment, and it's just acting like nothing is going on, nothing is happening, and Megan's done. Sarah's done. She says that she's done. She tells him that he needs to leave. She's crying, and she's saying that he doesn't care. And just when I think that that's it, that they are finally done, she gets back together with Michael. Okay? And her friend is done. She can't support that. And I will say this. Anyone who thinks that she's a bad friend has not been on the outside looking in at an abusive relationship. I can honestly say that my friends felt the same way about me and my ex. I was done. I was mentally done with my ex before I physically left. And that was years. That was years before I left, because he had degraded and abused me to the point that I felt like everything was my fault. And every time that I would leave, he would just rope me back in with the apologies of change. And we would be fine for a couple weeks, and then it would go right back to the way it was. And then when I finally left, I stood on the outside of one of my friends and her husband's marriage, and I could see exactly what they were going through with me. The constant, you need to leave, you deserve better, why are you doing this to yourself? And you can be supportive, but you don't have to be there. And sometimes, and honestly, I had given up with my friend. They actually, I don't know if you've watched any of my videos before, but they're actually separated, divorced now, finally. But to be there and to tell somebody that they need to leave and that they'll be fine, you can only say it so many times before you realize that it's not up to you. It's up to the person that's in the relationship. And if someone's in an abusive relationship, you hope that they can leave sooner rather than later. Before something bad does happen, before they don't leave at all. And I totally understand her friend leaving when she did, because if I had known that somebody was cheating on me, and if my boyfriend was cheating on me, and we had got past it, The likelihood of that happening is very slim because I already told him that that's a big no for me. But if we were to get past it and then he just basically disappeared for 3 days and did this and picked fights with me all the time, I would really hope that I would not take him back. And if I did, I would not expect anyone to be there to support that until I realized that I deserved better, you know? So, Sarah staying with Michael, I got it, I understand. You want to make a family work, and not to mention his mom is sitting in both of their ears, knowing about one another, telling Sarah to not give up on Michael, to make it work, and then turning around and telling Megan that everything's going to be fine, but then telling Michael that he needs to leave Megan because he has a good thing with Sarah. And it's hard. It's hard. So, of course, they get back together, and everything is fine for a few days and whatever. But then he ends up going back to jail for the 4 months because he was 10 minutes late to his parole. So Sarah decides she's going to meet with Megan. And of course, when they get there, they start off kind of yelling at each other. They're kind of shouting. And then, then it kind of turns into I'm pregnant, and it happened like a few days after he got out of jail. And, it's just kind of hurting both of them. They just start talking about what he said and what they've done, and honestly, I was half expecting a fight, but they didn't. So Michael ends up calling Sarah after her talk with Megan, and she basically says that she's done, and he threw everything away. And then he calls Megan, and she doesn't want to speak to him because he won't tell her anything. She goes back home. Her father, is, I'm sorry, and I saw this coming, whatever. But then they're still in contact with Michael. Now, I understand Sarah being in contact with Michael because they have 2 kids. And if he wants to see his kids, then obviously he needs to go through Sarah. But why is Megan still in contact with Michael? He literally treated her like a mistress. He lied to her. He lied to both of them, and yet they're still together? They're still talking? Unless he is solely just talking to Megan in a romantic way, then... But still, why? Does Megan have, no self-respect for herself? But I can honestly say that these 14 episodes was a whirlwind of emotional drama roller coaster. And I really hope that Megan and I really hope that Megan is only talking to Michael to find out why. And maybe if they are friends, then that's fine. But I don't see how you can be with someone you don't trust. But it says that I still have, quite a good few episodes left. So I guess I'll need to start on those. And when I'm done with them, obviously I'll make a video of them. Those videos. So I guess until then, I hope you guys continue to have a good week. And I will talk to y'all then.